Over the last few years, people have become more and more fascinated in bees, it seems. I think they see them around in their gardens, they see them foraging on flowers. They also have this social colony structure, and I think that fascinates people, how they work together. Other insects can pollinate, but actually bees are so effective because they have to feed the pollen and nectar to their brood back in the colony usually, which means they're very assiduous at collecting that. Bees face quite a number of challenges in our modern environment, which might be food availability, the diseases that they're subject to, which we're learning a lot more about. There's other things that we do in the management of our environment, such as pesticides, but also how we manage the landscape, which reduces the number of flowers.
There's a lot of different reasons, I guess, for protecting Cornwall's landscape. Cornwall's area of outstanding natural beauty really has a large role to play in that protection. Cornwall's economy really relies on its landscape. One of the things that has been concerning us is the continued and rapid decline of biodiversity within the AONB, and a key species set is really critical in terms of economy and wildlife are bees and pollinators. The AONB partnership really wanted to do something proactive for pollinators, and our FarmsforAONBees project is one of those, working in partnership with the University of Exeter in Penryn.
I study how animals and plants interact with the environment and how that affects their distribution in the environment, but on a really large landscape scale. My research is based on being able to model and predict bumblebee colony success in agricultural landscapes. So what that actually means is that other people in the research group go out and collect the raw data, so they go out in the fields and the lab, and then I get that data and I then feed it into the computer model and then work out how bees in those landscapes are affected by different environmental impacts. And I can look at lots of different scenarios. So I can look at what happens if farmers devote 2% of their farms to wildflowers for bumblebees and honeybees, and I can actually look at how that might help their colonies. Or I can look at what would happen if we had global warming and the temperature went up 2 degrees or something, and I can actually have a look at how that would affect the bees. The work that I'm doing will hopefully help farmers make more from their landscapes and help bees live in these landscapes.
Every farm has to be profitable, so you're always looking at ways to make the most of all your land. Grace came up, showed us where the bee colonies were likely to be, and then showed us all the different options that we could choose for ways to manage our areas that we don't crop, and shown us that just by making a few small changes we can increase the pollinators around, which will in turn have a benefit to our crops that we're growing.
Subsidies might not be the same in a few years' time, so we have to look at utilising our ground as effectively as we can. We really just want to see a healthier environment on our farms. So it's helping us now choose what seeds we're going to put in where, choose which options we can use for the countryside stewardship, and really making informed choices to what we're going to do.
You know, if we don't have our pollinators, that makes it very, very difficult for us to produce food. The objectives for farmers and the objectives for conservationists are absolutely aligned on this issue. Farmers need bees, farmers need pollinators, and we want to see bees conserved within the landscape. It's a win-win, there are no downsides to this. So the more farmers and land managers that can get involved in this, the better, really.